There is a reason that most people never become successful. And it has nothing to do with lack of resources. It has nothing to do with lack of talent. It has nothing to do with ability. And it has everything to do with, well, something that I've identified in my own life and in dealing with so many entrepreneurs that I've coached or dealt with or talked to and sat down and really understood. Like, it all comes back to this one thing. Like, being successful is not that complicated. It's hard, but it's not complicated. But the reason that most people are never able to achieve it comes back to this one thing. And the reason, like, that I know this is, like, once I identified this in my own life, a lot of things started to shift and change that allowed me to get to where I wanted to be much faster. And it's like the most simple thing to do in concept, but it's very, very difficult because of how we're taught with it. So that's what we're going to discuss here today.
You are now entering a new paradigm.
So here is my issue. I wanted to find the answers to life's biggest questions. Things like, how do I become happy and live with purpose? How do I make more money doing what I love? And what does it mean to be truly successful in all areas of life? My name is Josh Forti, at Josh Forti on Instagram, and I ask life's biggest questions and share the answers with you. My goal is to help you find purpose, happiness, and open your mind to new realms of possibility by helping you think differently about everything you do, know, and understand. On this podcast, we think different, we dream bigger, and we live in a world without limits. This is a new paradigm. Welcome to the Think Different Theory.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Think Different Theory. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am exhausted right now. I'm exhausted. So we've started pre-recording a lot of these episodes just because, you know, we do stream them live, but some of them are, you know, pre-recorded and streamed as live. It is currently 8:47 at night right now. I have been on the phone for like 9 hours and 45 minutes today. And that is not, like, that doesn't include breaks or in between calls. Like, actual phone conversation time been over 9 hours, almost 10 hours today. I'm exhausted. And I would rather be doing other things than recording this podcast episode right now. I like sleeping, right? Or watching Netflix. But I think that, I know, like, the reason I'm sitting down and recording this episode is actually the topic that we're going to be talking about here today. And that is the cost of what it takes to be successful and the cost of what it is to achieve your dreams. And the biggest mistake that I see a lot of people making, myself included, that once shifted can really change the trajectory of success and really change, of your specific success, and really shift your life into a matter of, oh, I hope one day I become successful, into a reality of, no, success is not an option. It is the only way, right? Like, success is inevitable, right? Like, I believe firmly deep down in my heart, in my soul, in my brain, that, like, I will be successful, right? And, like, very, very wealthy, very, very influential. I will have, lots of power, if you will, in a good way, like lots of influence over whatever domain I choose, simply because I have chosen that, right? And I don't believe that success is a question mark. I don't believe that success is something that needs to be like, I hope I make it someday. I believe that success can be inevitable. But in order for it to be inevitable, you need to choose that, and you need to step into and live in that way, right? Like, success is not by accident. Success is more or less like systemizable in the sense of, like, if you follow certain paths, you will be successful. Now, that's not to say there won't be failures along the way. That's not to say you won't be rich and then broke and then rich again. Success is defined in a lot of different ways. But what I'm saying is, you can choose to be successful. And as long as you do the actions that require you to be successful, you can be successful. All right. But here's the thing, because I want to talk about this, right? Like, I'm exhausted right now. I'm very, very tired, and I want to go to sleep, but yet I'm here. Why? Well, because I've chosen to be successful. And that's kind of like what I want to talk about and kind of dive deep into further here. Because, and I want to kind of back up with this, guys, I used to be under this false belief that in order to be successful, I had to do a lot of things, okay? I had to do a lot of stuff in order to be successful, right? I had to, do sales calls and funnels and sell a bunch of different things and speak on stages and do podcasts and write emails and figure out how to grow a team and invest. And, I had to be everywhere, do everything. And I saw a lot of people that were making a lot of money, at least at the time. And it appeared that they seemed to be doing so many different things, right? And so I had this belief that in order for me to achieve success, in order for me to get to where I wanted to be in life, I had to do a lot of things, right? My parents were always busy doing a lot of things. A lot of the people that I looked up to were always busy doing a lot of different things. Multitasking, getting lots of different things done at once was highly regarded. It was like, oh yeah, you're going to be successful if you can do a lot, right? And so the story that I told myself was, if I was not doing a lot, if I was not working all the time, if I was not hustling, if I was not grinding, that I didn't deserve to be successful, right? And it was almost like this thing where I didn't think you were wrong if you didn't do that, but it's like, if you wanted to be successful, like, this is just the requirements, man. Like, you just got to hustle. You just got to work. You got to work from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, and you got to do a million different things, right? Because, like, you don't get the luxury of being able to do only a few things if you want to be successful. Like, in my mind, success equaled, like, pay your dues and you have to do a lot of things, all right? Now, since then, I've grown to think differently. Play on words there, think different, but truly, to think differently, to believe differently, to act differently, to choose differently than that, and realize that that is not the case. All right, and I'm going to explain that here as we go on. But you have to understand, like, growing up and really up until recently, doing a lot of things was like this prerequisite. So if you came at me and you were like, hey, Josh, do less. Hey, Josh, focus over here. Hey, Josh, go over here and do this, and like, it doesn't take all of this, I would have told you no, not because the logic didn't make sense. I might even look at it and go, well, yeah, I guess that logically makes sense that I don't have to do all this. But like, my brain, my identity told me that in order to be successful, I must pay my dues. In order to be successful, I must go through and do a lot of different things. And I thought, and I was under this belief, that the opposite of doing a lot of things was being lazy. All right? Now, this is important, okay? I thought that the opposite of doing a lot of things was being lazy, okay? So I assumed, hey, look, if I don't want to be lazy, poor, I need to do a lot of things so that I am not lazy, so that I am rich, that I am successful, so that I get to where it is that I want to be. And in doing so, and in going down this rabbit hole or this path of thinking that I had to do everything, I would overcommit on things. And here's what would happen. I would sit down at the beginning of the week. I'd be like, I got all this stuff to do. And I'd have 50 different projects, right? And I'd have 50 different million things that I was working on. And I would never actually go and consistently be able to get those things done, especially if it was an ongoing thing. For example, creating content every single day, right? Or creating content X number of times a week. Doing X number of sales calls, being disciplined in certain areas. I had a really hard time with discipline other than just showing up and like sitting down at my desk and being busy. Like, I was really, really good at being busy, really good at being busy. But then as I started working with my mindset coach, as I started reading and studying more about success, as I started going through this process of realizing what success really was and how value was really created, I started to realize, I started to learn through this process that success is not doing a lot of things, okay? Success is not accomplished by being busy. Okay? Success is not accomplished by simply hustling and grinding or doing a lot of things or, whatever that thing is. Success is accomplished by creating value, real value, and solving real problems in the world. And the better that you can solve that problem, the better that you can go down and find solutions around the thing that you are going to do, like, how you're serving, the more successful you will be. And it had very little to do with being busy and had everything to do with being productive and being consistent in my work. Okay? Consistency allows for compound interest to take effect. Okay? Now, if you don't know the power of compound interest, if you don't understand that, which most people don't, not even I fully understand it, but it's like, well, it's the eighth wonder of the world, right? Compound interest is not just a thing in money. Compound interest is a thing in all areas of life. Okay? It's this compound effect that what you do now, if you continually do that, it's going to grow little by little by little, but like it's going to exponentially increase. Okay? Because guess what? If my efforts increase by 10% every single time that I do something, all right? I want you to think about this, right? So if every time I do something, and let's say it takes me, I don't know, a year, right? Or let's be a little more tangible, a month, right? If I have to do something once a month, the first time I do that, if I'm going to get X result, that's 100%, okay, of the result that I got. If every time I do it, I get 10% better, if I get 10% more of a result, okay? First month I do it, I get 100. Then I get 110, right? That's this, the second time I do it. And then I get 100, what does that be? 111, right? And then actually, let's just do the multiplication here. What's that? 100 times, is that 0.10? Or no, 100 times, yeah. No, 1.10 times 1.10. Yeah. So the first time you do it, it's 110. Then it's 121. Then it's 133. Then it's 146. Then it's 161. Then it's 177. Then it's 194. Then it's 214. Then it's 235. Then it's 259. Then it's 285. Then it's 313. Okay? And then it keeps going and growing and growing and growing, because this same amount of effort that you put into something compounded over time gets a higher and higher and higher and higher and higher yielded result. So the first time that you do something, you're going to get this much of a result for it. But then eventually it's going to continue to skyrocket, and you do it over and over and over again. And soon enough, I click this button about 20 or 30 times, and all of a sudden I do something and I'm at 6,000 for the exact same amount of effort. And then the jump is from 6,000 to 626. And then from 6,626, it's 7,200. And then from 7,200, it's to 8,000. And then to 8,000, it's to 8,800. And then it's to 9,900 or 9,700. So it's this exponential thing that when you do it over and over and over and over and over again, one specific thing, the results that you are going to get with the exact same amount of effort, with the exact same amount of time put into something, will exponentially grow. And you're not going to see the result the first time, the second time, the fifth time, or the 10th time. But guess what? If you do something once a month and you do it every single month for 12 months, okay? You've done it 12 times. Your increase might be like this big, right? Like a little bit. And you're like, oh, I'm better at it the 12th time that I did it than the first time that I did it a year down the road from now. But now if you do that for 5 years down the road, all of a sudden, the 60th time that you did it, you're literally putting in, and I don't know how many times I've hit this button here, but it's certainly not 60, right? Like, actually, let's do this. 100 times 1.10, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Okay, ready for this? Here's the math, okay? If I do something one time and I achieve 100% result, and every time I do it after that, I get just 10% better, just 10%. By the time I do that 60 times, my results on a 10% compounding interest effect is 30,448. Keep in mind, the first time I did it, I achieved 100. Okay, so let's say the first time that you did something, you made $100. If you did it and you got 10% better, just 10% better every single time, the 60th time you did it, you would make $30,448. Now imagine if there was another zero added onto that. Let's say the first time you did something, you made $1,000. And then the second time you made 10% more, and then 10% more, you got 10% better, 10% better. Add a zero to this. The first time you do it, you're gonna make $1,000. The 60th time you do it, if you do it once a month for 5 years, you will make $304,000. That's insane, right? Why? How did that happen? Because of the compound interest effect. But in order for that to take place, in order for you to achieve that result, what do you need to do? You need to be consistent. You need to be consistent in what it is that you are doing. So once I realize this, once I go, oh, okay, if I am consistent at something, if consistency is the thing that allows me to have this compound interest effect of what it is that I'm doing, what allows me to create consistency? What is that thing? That was the question that I'm faced with. You know what the answer to that was? Discipline. Discipline. Guys, the biggest thing that I lacked in my life, especially over the past 2 years, and ironically, I actually had quite a bit of it early on, and then once I achieved a certain level of success and my life kind of all got messed up after my crash, and I lacked it for a while, is discipline. Discipline is the thing that allows you to create consistency. If you are disciplined in what you are doing, by default, by definition, if you are disciplined, you create consistency. Consistency allows compound interest to take effect in every area of your life, whether that's in money or in sales or in podcast downloads or in weight loss or in investments or in building or in system, whatever, in any and every area of your life. Compound interest is this eighth wonder of the world. It's the thing that will allow you to go and have exponential results. Because think about it. If you had all of the assets that Russell Brunson had right now, when you think about it, if you had a $100 million company, you had an email list of 1 million people, okay? You had the knowledge and experience and the data that Russell Brunson had to go off of. Do you believe that you could have a better result than you are getting right now? Yes or no? Of course, yes. Why? Because you have more assets and things to deal with. Well, how do you build assets? How do you build knowledge? How do you build those things? By doing your launches over and over and over and over and over and over again. By doing your investments over and over and over and over again. By doing whatever it is over and over and over and over again. But guess what? If you were to go and try to launch 15 different things, 50 different things, 500 different things, rather than one thing over and over and over and over and over again, you're not going to have the assets of that one thing. You're not going to have the compound interest effect of that one thing. If I have $100 and that $100 is my energy level, right? If I invest $1 into 100 different things, even if compound interest was perfect, I would get 1% of the result versus if I invest on each of those things rather than 100% on one thing. Now, if I did 50% of my time, 50%, and I invested into two things, now 50% of my energy is split. It's going to literally take me twice as long in order to go and achieve the same result that I could if I just put all my eggs in one basket, if I went 100% in on one thing, if I was focused on that one thing. And when I realized this, I went, holy crap, the more things that I do, the less likely I am to succeed. The slower I will get to the result that I want. Because my attention is spread, because my energy is spread, and because I am limiting the effects of compound interest, okay? And once I realized this, I was like, oh, if my only limited resource in this world is time, that's it, okay? That's really my only limited resource. If my only limited resource is time, and time is the number one factor for allowing compound interest to happen, okay? The longer time goes by, the larger effect a compound interest has. For every minute, every day, every hour, every week, every month, every year that I diversify my attention, I diversify my consistency, I am literally taking away from the compound interest effect that could be happening, the exponential growth. Now, I am not saying to put all your eggs in one basket, not to diversify with money and blah, 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 blah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about this from a conceptual standpoint for creating focus and creating discipline and consistency in your life. The reason that most people become or do not become successful, the reason that most people never reach their goals, and the single biggest differentiation factor between those that do achieve massive success, massive results, and those that don't, comes from lack of consistency, which comes because lack of consistency prevents lack of compound interest effect. So lack of compound interest effect comes from lack of consistency. Where is that made? Lack of discipline. Lack of discipline is one of the, if not the single greatest reason that somebody does not become successful, myself included. And the reason that most people are not disciplined is because they try to do too much. And they are not able to commit and follow through on the things that they have committed to. Because life gets in the way. And most people try to commit to too much. And when you commit to too much, you cannot be disciplined. Here's the deal, okay? I try to only commit. And this is something I learned from my coach, okay? I never commit to anything. I never make a promise. I never say I'm going to do something unless I am 100% sure that no matter what happens in my life, that I am still committed to making that happen. And I'm still able to make that happen. The reason I am recording a podcast episode right now, and my list of things to do is very long right now. I got out 9 hours of phone calls. You can imagine my to-do list after this. The reason I'm doing this right now and not those other things is because I made a commitment and I am being disciplined to create podcast content. I've committed to that. That is a non-negotiable in my life. I am disciplined in that area, okay? But most people try to go and commit to all these different things, and then you go through and you are like, man, I'm going to commit to 25 different things this week, and then you get 2 done. And then you look at your list and you go, I got out of the 25 things that I was supposed to get done today, I got 8% of them done. 8, or this week, right? I got 8% of them done. Whereas if you would just commit to 2 things, then you got 100% of those things done. And most people that commit to 25 things may get 2 things done this week, and maybe they get 2 things done next week, but it's a different thing. And then a different thing the next week, and a different thing the next week, and a different thing the next week. And all of a sudden they fast forward a week, myself included, I've been guilty of this. A week goes by, a month goes by, a year goes by, and you're like, crap, that New Year's resolution that I said I was going to do every day at the beginning of this year didn't happen. Why? Because you overcommitted. Overcommitment leads to lack of discipline. Because you're going to have bad days. And most people make commitments on good days. Most people go, I'm going to commit to this. And I'm going to commit to these 5 things because they're feeling good. You've got to make commitments based on, am I able to do this when I'm having a bad day? Am I able to do this? Am I going to stay disciplined to this when everything goes wrong? Okay? Am I able to commit to this and follow through on this when I don't feel like doing this? Have I put things in place in my life? Have I done things in my life that allow me to have a cushion, that allow me to still stay disciplined when things go wrong? Here's the deal, guys. I commit to creating 3 podcast episodes every single week. And you know what? I have a deadline that I need to have those podcast episodes done by. But you know what else? If something were to go wrong, I have my whole schedule planned out for the week, right? If something were to go wrong, and for whatever reason, I couldn't make that deadline, right? I have a buffer window in there. I have a solution or a mechanism that allows me to go, oh, if I missed it, missing that deadline is not going to prevent me from missing a podcast because I have an extra day built into it just in case, because I am absolutely committed and disciplined to getting a podcast episode out every week. So you have to look at it and go, am I overcommitting to things? Because guys, and this goes back to my daily schedule, and many of you know this, I've talked about this a lot. I used to try to get 50 things done in a week. Right? I would sit down and I'd make out my list for for Monday morning. I'd be like, I'm going to do this, and this. And I'd have like 15 things. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to be so productive today. And then I would go and I would get done at the end of the day. And I'm like, crap, I got 1 thing done and 6 things halfway done. And I'm like, I'll do better tomorrow. And the next day I go through and I'm like, okay, I've got all the things I didn't do yesterday. I got to finish today plus all this other stuff. And then I would go and I would go through the next day, and on Tuesday, I would look at the end of the day, and I'd be like, I got 2 things done, and I have 9 things undone, and I've got this list of 30 things that I haven't gotten done. Well, don't worry, I'll get to it by the end of this week. I'll just push it back. And then by Friday, I look at my thing, and I go, I got 4 things done this week. I have 35 projects that are not completed. I didn't make any momentum. I wasn't disciplined and committed to the things that I wanted to. And the things that were most important in my business, I didn't even allow myself to go and get to. I didn't even do them. So therefore, compound interest is not able to take effect on the work that I did. And I've just wasted another week of my time that I am never able to get back that could have been used towards compound interest, towards compounding my efforts on this. And I've lost that forever. And I did this for years. And it was because I didn't understand how to be disciplined and how to make commitments based on things that I could actually follow through on. So I shifted and I said, you know what? Every day there is absolutely no reason, none, that I cannot get 3 core projects done every single day, even if I only work for 8 hours. So I don't remember the first time that I did this, but I know at the beginning of this year is when I really committed to it and I made a conscious choice to be disciplined. And I said every single day, 5 days a week or whatever days I am working, I will have 3 core projects a day. Just 3. That is it. 3. Once I'm done with those 3 things, I'm done. And if I have to work 14 hours to get those 3 things done, I work 14 hours. If I have to work 3 hours, I work 3 hours. Then I'm done. If you follow me on Instagram, or if you've been in my Facebook group for any length of time, you know this. I talk about this often. I show people all the time my whiteboard. Every single night before I go to bed, I'm like, here are the 3 things for tomorrow. Here are the 3 things for tomorrow. Here are the 3 things for tomorrow. Here are the 3 things. Those are the 3 things. It's always those 3 things. And I've gone into details on how I break those down, right? But it's like 3 core projects. Why? Because let me ask you something. I've done a podcast on this before. When's the last time you got 15 core projects, actual core projects done in a week? 15 of them. 3 per day for 5 days. Probably not very often. Now, how many times, maybe you did that last week, let's say. Did you do it the week before, and 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 the week before? Probably not. Why? Because you overcommitted on things, and overcommitment leads to lack of discipline. Most people are not disciplined and lack discipline because they overcommit. And the reason that you overcommit is because you believe that success is created by doing lots of things. That's what I believed. But once I shifted and I said, nope, success is not created by doing lots of things. Success is created by doing a few things over and 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 over again very well. When I made that shift, then I said, great, my identity shifted. We do everything based out of identity. I've talked about this, right? Identity is our belief about ourselves. So if I believe that I am the type of person, if my identity says that I am the type of person that has to do a lot of things in order to be successful, guess what? Limiting to myself to 3 things a day and creating massive discipline and creating massive consistency would be against my identity. Therefore, I will never do it. Therefore, I will never be able to reap the benefits of compound interest, and I will never be able to reach the level of success that I want. Okay? However, if I shift my identity, if I shift my belief about myself, and I say, no, I am the type of person that will be successful not because of the amount of things that I do, but simply because I am the best at what I do, because I am committed to being really, really good and understanding everything it is about this topic or this thing. If that identity shifts, now you're going to do that one thing or that 3 things over and over and over and over and over again. And now what have you done? You've created discipline, allowed yourself to be disciplined. You've created consistency, which leads to the compound interest effect. And therefore, success becomes inevitable, not chance. The reason that people think that success is by chance is because they do not understand what success is or how it is created. They do not understand how value is created. But once you understand compound interest, once you understand how value is created, once you understand what success really is, you can shift your identity and you go, oh, I no longer have to do 1,000,000 things well. I have to do 1 or 2 or maybe 3 things well. And if I just focus on those, if I commit to those, and I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt in my mind that no matter what happens throughout that day, no matter how tired I am, no matter what it is, I am committed to getting those 3 things done or that one thing done or whatever it is. And for me, There are certain things every single week, without question, no questions asked, that I get done every single week, unless I'm on vacation, of course, right? And one of those things is publishing. I publish 3 podcast episodes a week, every single week. And there have been days, I am not kidding you, when I have been up at 3 o'clock in the morning, when I wanted to be in bed at 10 o'clock at night, at 3 o'clock in the morning, when I'm recording or editing podcast episodes before I had a team, to get them out on time, to make sure that they were published. Why? Because I was disciplined, because I didn't overcommit. I didn't say I have to get 17 things done today. I said I have to get 1. And by gosh, and when it was 11 o'clock at night and I went, crap, I didn't get the 1 thing done, I didn't go, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. I said, no, I am disciplined. I will get it done today. But I couldn't do that if I overcommitted. And I committed to 7 things a day. I commit to 3 every day. And so by the end of the week, every week, I can look back and I can say, did I get my 15 things done this week? And if the answer is yes, then I can go have a great weekend. I can go drive my Jeep. I can party. I don't really party, but I can go out. I can have fun. I can hang out. I can relax. But if those 15 things didn't get done, guess what? I'm working, getting it done. Why? Because that's how that is discipline. That's how consistency is created. And because that is what it takes to be successful. Success has almost nothing to do with ability, talent, or skill. You can learn pretty much all of those. Some can argue you can't learn talent, okay? But there are plenty of stupid, dumb, untalented, successful people out there. Success has nothing to do with talent, skill, or ability. It has everything to do with whether or not you are willing to be disciplined and consistent so that the laws of nature, the laws of success, literally by definition, the laws of success, are allowed to kick in and carry you there. That is when success becomes inevitable. Success becomes inevitable when you create discipline and focus. And that is the key. All right? People overcommit because they want it too fast. And they want it too fast because they don't realize that success is inevitable if you just make it inevitable. They don't realize that you don't have to do a million different things in order to achieve success. Shift your identity, which is the mindset thing. Guys, it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. All of it. Everything, all of success is a mental game. All of success is in your head. If you decide first, like things are first created spiritually, then they are created mentally, then they are created physically. I firmly, 100% firmly believe that with everything that I am. Okay? So go out there, create it spiritually, create it mentally, and then go out there and bring it to reality physically. But if you haven't created it there, you're not going to be able to create it in real life. Create discipline in your mind. Shift your identity. Shift your belief systems, your beliefs about yourself, beliefs about what's possible. Create discipline. Discipline leads to consistency. Consistency leads to the compound interest effect. And it's game over at that point. All right? All right, guys, that's all I've got for you. I hope this episode was valuable. Hey, if you would, and you did find value in this episode, just do me a huge favor. Go to iTunes right now, if you haven't yet already. Go to iTunes. Click on that rating and review. Leave a rating and a review. We need more of those. We want to grow the podcast, and this really, really helps. Yeah, hope this was helpful. Guys, thinking differently, mastering my mind is hands down the greatest thing that I've ever done. And I continue to work on it every single day. I don't have my mind mastered yet. I'm not perfect. I have so much. It's infinite. It's ever expanding. Like nobody can ever master their mind fully. It's impossible. It's an ever growing, we're ever evolving species. And that's beautiful. It means you never arrive. It means you can always get better. It means there's always more work to do. It means there's always a way to get better and better and better. But when you go in and you master your mind, when you go in and understand that, like your entire life changes because your entire worldview changes. Your view of reality, your view of what's possible, your understanding of what it takes to become successful, your understanding of what moves the needle, your understanding of how people think and why people buy, and like everything changes when you fix your mind. And when you see things in a new light, like imagine putting on glasses that literally allows you to see things that nobody else saw, and they were cheat codes of life. That's what fixing your mind is like. It has nothing to do, like success has nothing to do with, oh, how do I run a better Facebook ad? Like Warren Buffett's never run a Facebook ad. Mark Zuckerberg probably has never run a Facebook ad, and he owns Facebook. Why? Because it's not about that. It's about a mindset shift. You've got to, like, it's all mental. And when you unlock that, when you really dive in to understand what's holding you back, all of a sudden everything else becomes really, really easy. And that's what I'm trying to help people achieve. All right? That's what it means to think different. That's what it means to be a free thinker, is to unlock the power and potential of your mind and your brain. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you. As always, hustle, hustle. God bless. Do not be afraid to think different, because those of us that think different are going to be the ones that change the world. I love you all, and I will see you on the next podcast episode. Have a great weekend. Take it easy, fam. Peace.
Yo, what's up, guys? You've been listening to the Think Different Theory with myself, Josh Forti, which I like to call a new paradigm of thinking. And real quick, I got a question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message of positivity and making the world a better place is if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this is out on that you like my stuff and that I'm doing something right. So if you could take like 3 seconds out of your day and subscribe, leave a rating and a review, I would be forever grateful for you. Also, I want to hear from you. I want to know your feedback, your ideas, and your questions for future episodes. So be sure to hit me up on Instagram in the DM at Josh Forti or via email contact@thinkdifferenttheory.com.